Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to Let's Play Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm Nye. Right now in Isle Deckney, it is 6:56 p.m. on Wednesday, April 29th, 2020. Now for today's announcements. Today, we have a visitor staying at the campsite. Hope our guest is able to see what it is that makes Isle Deckney such a special place. That's all for now. I hope you all enjoy the loveliest of lovely days. Getting a extremely late start. Usually I would do this over lunch, but today got knocked out by hell of a migraine that just basically said, no, you're not allowed to do anything for the day. And, yeah, was generally considered to be an unpleasant time. But now I'm getting started. Don't know how long we're going to be going today. I might make it a shorter day, depending on what's going on around the island. That stuff we're going to hold on to so I can give it to villagers. Okay. We have a lot of stuff we got to go pick up. One thing I want to talk about. So, we got on the subject yesterday. Not for very long, mind. It was a very quick conversation. But we got on the subject yesterday of the concept of timelines. What's Bruce got to say? Keeping yourself healthy these days, you got to be strong if you want to go toe-to-toe with me. And to get strong, you got to recover well. And that means watching plenty of TV and lounging around. Get to it. Sincerely, Bruce. Bruce, you have it exactly right. So when I say timelines, I don't really mean scheduling. You know, I'm kind of familiar with scheduling being the concept of timelines. Gotta go check our tools here, but I hear a balloon, I think. It's over here. Now, is it over here? Nope. Huh. Okay. So I don't mean scheduling. Not like, you know, the timeline it takes to get something done from A to B. Talk about the concept that when decisions are made or things happen in life, the idea, the theory that it creates a maybe an offshoot dimension is, I guess, the way we might want to put it. But it creates a separate reality for whatever happens, right? Which I think is a fascinating concept. Okay, so hold on. What do I not have? Let's just go look at tools real quick. So I need an axe. I have a dog who's barking. I need an axe. I need a fishing rod. Is that all I need? I think that's all I need. An axe and a fishing rod. Okay. And unfortunately, I cannot actually make either one. I need a bunch of sticks for the fishing rod. And for the axe, I need stone, which I don't have with me. Okay. So I find this theory fascinating. Just the concept that different things that happen in life can create a separate reality where that changes, or that the reality is based on the result of that thing. So, you know, the obvious ones that we hear a lot are things like, what if Hitler was accepted into art school? You know, what if the guy who decided, what if the Russian decided not to launch nukes at the United States during a false alarm, decided to launch them instead? So these are decisions that if things went differently, so if the decision that was made or the action that was taken at the original time was taken in a different way, or something different had happened, the world would be a fundamentally different place now than it actually is. Which I find to be absolutely just fascinating as a concept. I love it in terms of an actual, like, intellectual thought process. I guess a thought experiment of what if. I also love it as a setting for a video game or for a fantasy realm. You know, your mileage may vary. You can choose whatever way you want to take it. But the concept that things would be different if this happened is always a fascinating one. And you see it in different places. Now, sometimes it's done better than others. So, you know, if you look at something like, here, have some white simple something. But if you actually go and look at, some video games, like, for example, one of my, you know, favorites to look at is going to be, like, BioShock 1 or BioShock Infinite. Both of those games, you know, really focus on the concept of what if this radical change happened in, you know, the 1910s, 1940s. Now, keep in mind, yes, you know, right off the bat, let's go ahead and just kind of give the acknowledgement, right, that those ones also require a significant level of technology that kind of wasn't available at the time. But, oh, nope, didn't want that. But it definitely is an interesting thought, you know, of what if? What if the technology did exist? But, you know, looking in a different direction, you know, I've seen, you know, well, like one of my favorite webcomics, Girl Genius, goes to the concept of what if, you know, the history of Europe was radically different because things like mad science was actually a possible thing. All of these, you know, stories we see in, you know, comic books or, you know, the Venture Brothers, something like that. What if that stuff actually worked? You know, what if you could have that? But there are plenty of alternate history stuff. I mean, you know, a lot of the ones that I'm naming right now do require a certain level of sci-fi technology. I would name Wolfenstein, for example. The newer Wolfenstein games run on the concept that the Nazis actually won the World War instead of lost it. And what would the world be like if that happened? But a lot of these are very interesting concepts just to think about what little decisions, you know, what small things really lead to where the world is today. And that's not necessarily talking about any of the current decisions, so talking about, you know, current political climate or things like that. But, you know, if you go back and look, what if Abraham Lincoln had lost the presidency? Where would the world have ended up? You know, we probably would be looking at a very distinctly different United States if, you know, if we hadn't really had just literally the presidents that we had. Every president that we've had in the United States has been a unique mark on our history. They have all left their mark. They have all done things that are unique to them as presidents, and that changed the course of our history. And you can see that on a small scale too. Every governor, every you know, every mayor, each one, for the most part, has done something that is unique to them as a leader. And those somethings have changed the course of the history of their country, state, or city. Now, some of them might be larger than others, but, you know, they're pretty big. You know, things like deciding whether or not to sign an evacuation order. That doesn't sound like a big deal, but, you know, telling people they have to evacuate early, in the case of something like, let's say, a hurricane, would lead to potentially lives saved, yes. But also, signing that evacuation order early when it's unneeded would potentially lead to upset voters, so you might not get voted in the future, and that may change something else. So something, what-if scenarios. I find it fascinating to begin with, but then you get into the concept, the idea that these, how many pairs do I need? I need 20 pairs. But then you get to the idea that, what if, like I said, these are not just, you know, changes in the river of time or anything like that. Ooh, hey, I need space. I'll be back, hold on. These are not just curves in the river of time and things like that. You know, these are, what if you get to the idea that these decisions actually do distinctly not only change reality, but make an offshoot reality. I forget which branch of thought this falls into, but there is a branch of thought that a knitted grass backpack. I think I already have that. Oh, okay. Maybe not. Thanks, Sylvana. But there's the thought that, if you... Like, every potential result on a probability table creates a different reality. And some of those realities will actively collapse when it turns out that the thing that changed was not enough to change the course of history itself. So, when we say, every change in the probability table, so, the wind blowing a leaf this way or that way. That's what I mean. Like, those are differences. Those are changes. And the thing is, who knows if that would actually make a change to what actually happens in life. It is possible that a leaf blowing to the left instead of to the right would actually change something. Gets in the way of a truck driver's view, the truck driver doesn't see something, the truck driver hits something, that causes something else down the line. So there is a sequence of events that could happen. But it could also be that a wave coming in and, moving a pebble changes literally nothing. We have a reality where that pebble, moved slightly. But then another wave moves that pebble back. Nothing's affected. Okay, well, that reality would probably collapse into another one of the options, but because not enough change to keep it around. The reason this came up is that in Lobotomy Corporation, which I've been playing a lot of, and if you're interested, you can come see it live. I'm doing it Tuesdays and Thursdays. Otherwise, the VODs will eventually show up here. He was waiting for me. That's kind of creepy. Here, have a yellow message mat. A yellow message mat? Yep. You have a thing. And hey, I have some bells. Cool. Thanks, Boone. So, there is there's an item, an abnormality that you interact with called the backwards clock. The backwards clock says that when you wind it 4 times and then activate it, the facility is transported back in time to the last safe moment, except for the one employee that activated the clock. So this results in one of these twin timelines. So we have 2 timelines now. We have the timeline with the facility being rocked back in time to the last safe time. And then we also have the timeline of the employee that activated the clock. So it's kind of this interesting thought that now we have these 2 timelines, and this employee is now only in one of them. They're aware of both of them, and that's kind of the more important thing, because there is a, distinct difference in this thought process. In this thought experiment, I guess is the real way I want to put that. But there's a distinct difference in this thought experiment on if you have awareness of these other timelines, and if you can affect them in any way, interact with them in any way. In this thought experiment, obviously, the employee in question cannot interact with the other timeline. The other timeline is, out of their reach. But now now you know that there is a safer time that you could have been part of that you're not. And, even more, I guess, not only thought-provoking, but even more mind-screwy in a somewhat negative way, actually, is the idea that you are the cause of the break. And the big reason this came up, apart from having to, I used the item and then learned what it did. Apart from this came up is also the concept of doomed timelines. Now this one's kind of an interesting one. I haven't seen it necessarily referred to as such in a lot of places. I think Homestuck was the only place that specifically referred to a doomed timeline in those words that I've seen so far. But the concept certainly has been around in other places. And the idea here is that even though we have all of these timelines, even though there are, differences and such in these timelines, and that, events happen differently, There's only one timeline. There's only one sequence of events, one series of choices and statistical results and things of that nature that is actually the canon reality. The reality that is... I'm trying to kind of think of what word I want to use here. But it's the only true reality. There was a comic that showed up on Saturday Morning Breakfast Cereal that it was a series of lines spoken from the creators of the universe that basically indicated that our reality is effectively a binary test of reality. It's just testing to see how reality goes, and they're running a lot of these tests simultaneously, and at some point... we already know that one. Crap, gotta go offload again. All these flowers taken up my inventory, I need to get rid of them, but I also need to know what I have to keep track of. But at some point, all the decisions will be made, and we will know, officially. Do I need any more? I need a yellow mum, which is that one. Okay, we do need green mums, but it doesn't look like I have any green mums growing, which is a shame. Okay. But there is a, they're saying that, you know, they're testing reality, effectively. And, at some point, we will reach the optimum reality, where everything went correctly. And then they will reset the simulation, and that will be the reality they actually use for the finished product. It's an interesting thought, especially if you're one of those people who likes to play around with the thought experiment that we live in a simulated reality, because if that's the case, this might very well happen realistically. You know, this is an actual thing that could be a thing. So it's kind of, again, it's an interesting thought experiment, not necessarily something to go in, but a Doom timeline is just kind of this interesting thought that decisions that you made, whatever those decisions happen to be, or decisions that affected the course of the reality that you happen to be into, have turned this into a reality that cannot survive, cannot succeed. You know, this reality will not continue. At some point, we will have a collapse. Those are the lilies. What do I need from lilies? I need orange and pink. It does not look like orange or pink is sort of growing. I haven't started getting the crossbreeds in yet, which kind of sucks, but what are you going to do? Melba's not home. Let's go see about selling a thing or two. Oh, dear. I want that. And the Doom timeline's an interesting thought, just because we end up seeing what you might effectively call a Doom timeline in a lot of fiction. Let's drop oranges for now. If we go look at a lot of different pieces of fiction, you know, I think the one I'm gonna... Oh, hey, CJ's here today. Okay. I was wondering who was here. If we go look at a lot of fiction, I think one really good example of fiction I think that I'd talk about is Children of Man. Let's see, give you a shanty mat. Children of Man is a movie about the concept that humanity completely lost our ability to procreate. Or well, yes, procreate. We can still have sex, but we're not having children. And this is, of course, a major thing, because if there's no children anymore, the species is effectively dead. It's not... What's up, Pietro? I would really like you to not leave. Yeah, let's hug it out. That's a great idea. Also, have a gift. But Children of Man, that's effectively the end of the species. Like, if man can't... you know, can't have kids, if we're sterile, the species ends. Which is, you know, that's just, I guess it's just a thing that happens. That's just a thing that we would have to accept. But it's kind of an interesting thought process. And then if you go from there, Children of Man then, you know, of course, has, someone eventually does have the ability to have a child, and then they're brought to science places. But, oh, you're sitting, so... Can you get off the chair so I can... Please? I want to give you a thing. You're being a jerk. Talk to your guest. Dude. Dude. Hello? So then the question that I become fascinated with is, let's say you are in a Doom timeline. So again, in talking about Lobotomy Corporation, you use this clock when everything... There he goes. Okay. Spoons are sleeping. It's an interesting series of sleep talk. But what becomes interesting is if you're aware it's a Doom timeline. So in the example above of this backwards clock that sends everything but the activator into the past, you know, typically you would activate this clock when things have gone horribly, horribly wrong. Abnormalities have gotten out. They're terrorizing across the facility. You know, bad things are happening. People are dying left and right. You're activating the clock in order to restore peace and normality, with the understanding that you're not going to be in that reality anymore. You're gone forever. You've been exiled from the Prime timeline. You are in the Doom timeline now. You know, presumably this clock is not activated until it has been confirmed that you cannot secure these things again. And if these things start going nuts, chances are pretty significant that things have gone really bad and are not coming back from that. So then I guess the question becomes, what do you do? You know? What is the actions that you take in such a situation? Do you just lay down and die? You know that nothing you can do will restore this? Now, keep in mind, we are also playing with the concept of, you know, a potentially integrated timeline. So we are playing around with the concept that if there are few enough differences between the alpha timeline and the quote-unquote doomed one, that there are few enough differences, you know, reality could collapse back in, and you could be back in the regular timeline. So presumably, if you found a way eventually to fix, you know, all of these horrors escaping with, you know, with no damage, nobody dies, nothing changes, then you could get back into the regular timeline, but presumably you're not going to. But what do you do? Like, that's just not nihilism. That's, you have officially hit the cause. You are doomed. Like, life is effectively over. So what do you do? Like, in Children of Man, in the first couple of minutes, you know, we find that, you know, terrorist attacks are happening because there's kind of no reason for them not to. You know, the people are blowing shit up just because life has kind of ceased to have a meaning. You know, they're bombing out restaurants because they can. There's literally a company that is producing effectively like cyanide tablets that you can just send off for when you decide, you know, hey, I'm 50. There is no future for this planet. There is no future for humanity. You know, we as a species do not have a future. It's time to die at my own pace. You know, what is the point of living in a world where there is no future? Once we're gone, we're gone. What is, you know, what's the point? Now, I will say I don't approve of this thought process. I don't, you know, I'm not one of the folks that would actually think that way. But yeah, what do you do? I guess the question is, at that point, does life actually have any meaning anymore once you have reached that situation? As I said, I find it to be an interesting thought process because different people will respond to this in different ways. Some people actually do think that, okay, well, life is over. Like, there is nothing more that will be done at this point because we have reached the end. I forget, do I have exercise bike? I don't know. Let's buy it. Let's go ahead and buy the chest set as well. Oh my god. Really? I better be able to actually play chess on this thing. 95,000 for a chessboard? Okay, hold on. I mean, it makes the sounds of, you know, of pieces, but I don't know how I feel about that. As I said, more just a thought experiment, a thing to. Do I need roses? Check my list. I need 6 purple roses. Unfortunately, I don't think I have any crosses for purple roses yet. Not gonna pretend I've been trying very hard. I need to try a little bit harder. I need to actually go arrange my flowers to get the crosses I actually need at this point. Because, like, I think a purple is red and red, if I remember correctly. And I have a couple of locations where purple roses might show up. But I'm not actually, you know, I don't see any actually growing in. Kind of sucks. In case you're ever curious why I have my flowers laid out in certain patterns around the town, that's typically the reason why, is that I'm trying to get certain color crosses. And some of them I've gotten lucky with, and some of them I very much have not gotten lucky with. I was playing, for the first time in actually a number of years, I jumped onto League of Legends last night. A couple of my friends play on a regular basis, and I enjoy playing the game for the most part. Now, it has to be with friends, so that's the thing about me for League, is that I don't enjoy it playing solo. I don't enjoy it playing with randoms. It's really, I enjoy playing with friends. There's a certain level of fun that comes with, hey, we actually got at least one faucet today. There's a certain level of fun that happens with goofing off with friends. And I'm okay at the game. I'm not amazing. I'm not terrible. I'm middle ground. Last time I played ranked, I was at, like, high silver. Couldn't break into gold, unfortunately. I think our Brachiosaurus is complete. Nice. Sure, you can tell us about it. Brachiosaurus, whose name means arm lizard, was one of the largest herbivorous dinosaurs. Due to its long front legs and elongated neck, it seems to have specialized in eating plants up high. Alas, in order to support its large size, it likely needed to eat more or less every waking hour. What a ferocious forager it must have been indeed. Okay, our Brachiosaurus is done. That is one less fossil we have to find. I still have 2 fish and 1 bug I have not found, by the way. We still have the barrelfish. I forget what the barrelfish is a ocean fish that I haven't caught yet. We have a river fish whose name I can't remember. And we also have fleas that I haven't seen any villagers with fleas yet. But we gotta get those too. I'm not 100% sure what the best option is for those. The barrelfish is only night. The river fish is only day. Only early day as well. What's up, Peanut? Oh, okay, I'll take an upright vacuum, apparently. Oh, okay, so you got another one. Cool, re-gift me. Thank you. I was playing last night, and what was kind of interesting is we typically play normals. And so what I mean by that, for those of you who are not League of Legends players, normals are just unranked games. So there's no rank. There's no it's win or lose. That's really about it. There's no downside to losing. And I've been out of the game for 2 years. So I've been a long time not playing League. I've been out for a while. So I'm very rusty. And generally, I make it clear. I already had an exercise bike. Okay. Generally, I try to make it clear to, so I'll try this one more time. Yep, doesn't do a damn thing. Okay. But generally, I try to make it clear to people when I am, basically as rusty as I am now. Or, when I'm going to try something new. I try to make it clear to my teammates that, hey, I'm not good. Please don't expect good out of me. And right now, because I am so rusty, and I'm trying to pick up characters again and be able to play what the team needs, I make sure every time I play, every game I play, I reach out and say, hey, by the way, I haven't played in 2 years. I'm really rusty. Just so you have a heads up. So this game last night, and normally this is fine. Like, most players understand that, hey, things are going to happen. Last night I had some really weird responses from people, though. I played a game of Lux as support and ended up carrying, because Lux is broken. No, Lux is not broken, I'm joking. But I ended up playing as Lux and carrying, and one of my, and my jungler, who was playing, Jhin for some reason. Apparently Jhin is a jungler now. I don't understand the concept. But my jungler got very upset because I was carrying. And he was like, rusty my ass. And I'm like, what? And he's like, you're playing Lux. Lux never changed. You're not rusty. I don't like, this dude was going off about the fact that I called myself rusty. And keep in mind, I firmly believe I am still not at I'm not anywhere near I need to be, and on future games, this kind of bore itself out. But this dude was going off on me because I had the audacity to say, hey, I might not do well. Apparently, the fact that I'm playing a character who has not changed in 2 years means I'm not allowed to say it. It's got nothing to do with the fact that the thing I am rusty on is my reactions, my knowledge of items, my knowledge of how the new jungle works. So none of the other skills matter because this character hasn't changed in 2 years. It's amazing. So this guy goes off on me because I call myself rusty and I end up doing fairly well. Now keep in mind, he ends up doing terribly and we end up losing. And apparently this is also blamed on me. Apparently, doing my standard damage rotation is kill stealing. But yeah, so that was one guy. Another guy, again, so I'm just playing exclusively support, for those of you who are curious. I got thrown into jungle a couple of times because that's where Phil put me. And I'm not good in the new jungle yet. I still have to learn how the new jungle works. I was playing Pyke, and Pyke for me is a very, I have to get used to him again. I'm not familiar still with how long his hook goes out. I'm not currently familiar with his dash. So I've got to kind of get used to those again, because like their projectile speeds work a little bit different. Or maybe not different. I'm no longer oh, damn. Thought I was gonna bite. I'm no longer familiar with their projectile speeds. And for those of you who are not League of Legends players, I'm talking exclusively League of Legends stuff right now. So I apologize if you're out of the loop. CJ, talk to me. Okay, yes. Yes, we're gonna do a C-Sports challenge. Please stop talking so we can do a C-Sports challenge. Okay, what's the challenge today? Catch 3 small ones. Okay, I can do that. I wish you had an option to say, yes, I know the rules, let's go. You know what, before I even start the C-Sports challenge, let's go check clothing. Yeah, I'm not familiar with some of these speeds anymore. Like, I've lost my muscle memory for them. And one guy... Whoa. That mask. Okay. I'm gonna have to buy it, but... Ugh. That's kind of frightening. Okay. Nothing new from Sable. Let's take a look at our options. But, you know, one guy got very upset at me for not playing well as Pyke. Now, look, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I understand why he was not happy with me. You know, he was unhappy with me because I sucked. Like, I sucked out loud. Like, I was doing absolutely god-awful. I was missing my, I was missing my Qs. I was missing my Es. I actually, threw someone over my shoulder with my Q that causes me to miss my ult. I don't think I landed a single ult the entire game, either. So, look, I understand. I sucked as Pyke. Believe me, I got you. But, what interested me was the fact that, my suckage at this character, their decision was I should not be playing against people. So, for those of you who are unaware of how League works, I could play against bots, but the problem is the bots in this game are not very good. They're not smart. They don't plan very well. They're not really hard to play against. So it's really easy to just stomp on the bots. And the problem is that when you're trying to really learn how to play a character well against other people, you kind of have to play against people. The reasons that I wasn't landing my Q or E partially was me trying to get used to the projectile speed again. How fast my Q fires out, how far it fires out, how fast it charges. Sure, I could test that in a bot game. But when it comes to actually, catching people with these abilities, you kind of have to test against people. Because bots don't dodge as well as people do. Bots aren't unpredictable the way people are. So in order to really learn how to do this, I have to play against people. Which, okay, I'm going to grab this one. It's not the right size, but I haven't caught a small one yet. So I have to play against people. So it was two guys. Now keep in mind, one of them was doing well, one of them was not. But it was two guys who were going off on me about not playing well. And I mean going off, being in my face about my inability to play. And they just kept on going on and on. You should play against bots. Why are you playing against people? Now, the thing is, again, we're playing normals. The only thing you lose in normals is time. And the problem is that the game obviously thinks that these guys are my skill level. And I know that because it matched me with them. That's kind of how the game's matchmaking system works. And the game is not necessarily sure where my match level is because it's been so very long since I last played. So part of it is the game just doesn't... it doesn't know where I'm at, so it might have matched me too high at the moment. But it very much was me sitting here thinking, what type of person do you have to be to get angry that a person is relearning how to play the game? And then also, again, I very much warned these guys, literally in matchmaking lobby, hey, it's been years since I played. I probably am not going to play well. I apologize ahead of time. The only way I can play better is by playing. And that applies to everything in life. The only way to get better in life at anything you do is to actually just do, is to actually do the thing. You may fail, but you're never going to get better if you don't risk that failure. And if you fail, lessons learned, figure out what you did wrong, and then fix them. That's it. There are virtuosos, there are the naturally talented who they don't ever have to practice. They just naturally are good at everything they do. I'm not one of them. Very much not one of them. I'm one of the opposite people. I suck at most things that I do. But the only way to get better is to do. So what I'm trying to figure out is I don't understand what these folks... Oh, hey, it's a water bug. I should probably catch that. But I don't understand where these folks get off. You know... Okay, cool. I don't understand where these folks get off, you know, telling me that I should not be playing against people. Because literally the only way I can get better against people is to play against people. Telling me I should not play Pyke makes no sense, because the only way I can get better at Pyke is to play Pyke. You know, I do have characters that I play very well with. You know, not for those who are curious, not gold level well, but I can play high silver well on a number of different characters. So I do have characters I can play well, but part of the reason I play multiple characters is that I feel the actual way to learn to be better at the game is to know what you're facing. So, like, I need to, in order to know how best to deal with Pyke, I should play as Pyke. Because if I can play as Pyke, I'll know what his maximum distances are, I'll know what he can do, and therefore I know how to face him. And I do this in every video game I play. You know, I try to play a little bit of everything because I feel that knowing a little bit of everything makes me a stronger player whatever I do. So in Final Fantasy XIV, I play every job because I feel that playing every job means I know how they all work. And legitimately it does. I have every job at 80 at this point, and I do mean all of them. I know how all of them work. I'm not necessarily Savage, raid level ability in all of them, but I know how every job works. I can give you advice in every job, I can help you out on every job, and then if I'm tanking for you, I know what your job needs. So this way I can make sure that I'm working to you, and it allows me to make decisions that I may not otherwise be able to do. I was, you know, farming a certain boss the other day, and I told, you know, my party, hey, I can one-tank this. You don't need another tank. And some people in my party didn't believe me, and I said, no. I can one-tank this. You know, this boss may have required tank swaps back in the day, but it doesn't anymore. I guarantee you I can one-tank this, and I proceeded to one-tank it. And it's because I understood how the boss worked, and I also understood that I had a set of healers that could shield me, and therefore could cause the effect, the mechanic, that would normally require a tank swap to be negated. And that is exactly how it worked, by the way. In case you were curious if this actually worked out, that is exactly what happened. I one-tanked it, the healer shielded me, we proceeded to win and farm this boss. Wreath of Snakes, for you Final Fantasy players who are curious. But yeah, so we ended up doing that. So I like playing every class, every class, every type, every job. I like to play them all because I literally get to learn what everything does and what everything needs. So I'm not one who's going to go, well, I suck at Pyke, therefore I'm not going to play as Pyke. I'm going to go, I need to learn Pyke because I need to know. Apparently, I don't know how far his reach is, because if I did, I'd be using it better. And if I don't know how far his reach is, I can't make sure I'm out of it. But I tell you, if I, you know, my mains, in case you're curious, Nautilus is my huge main. I play a lot of Lux. I play a lot of Stone. I play a lot of support. I play a lot of jungle. But the new jungle, I'm still learning. I know how long Nautilus's Q is. I know exactly how hard you can thread that needle. And that's important for someone playing against Nautilus, because I need to know how far away I can be. You know, we were playing against a Morgana last night, against my Pyke. That's one of the reasons I stuck to Pyke, is I feel like she counters him pretty hard. We were playing against Morgana. I at least know Morgana reasonably well. So I know how long her pool tends to last. I know how far away I have to get to not be tethered to her. There are these things that I do know, so I was able to play around her fairly well. But Ezreal, who was their AD carry, I don't know very well, especially because it feels like he may have gotten changed once or twice. Sup, B? Like to give me a menu chalkboard. Oh, okay. But it feels like Ezreal's changed a couple times, so I don't know what his skills are like anymore, so I was having trouble dodging some of his stuff. There's some ring thing that he does that I don't understand how it works. But that's how I play. So again, the fact that someone got very angry at me and it was just like, you should just stop playing. It's just like, you're kidding me, right? And I'll be honest, like when I get people like this, I have a habit of, if you're gonna be a jerk, which again, these people were being, especially the Jin who was complaining that I was too good for, you know, for what I said I was. Again, this Jin was not doing well. I understand, that's frustrating. That does suck. But don't take it out on me. And also, you know, they accuse me of kill stealing. Like, hey, you shouldn't use your ult in every fight. It's like, my ult comes off a cooldown every 40 seconds. Yes, I should. It's my main damage dealing ability. It might get kills, but that means they're dead. Let's move on. Because, like, for those of you who are interested in League of Legends, you know, I play Lux. QER. Like, instantly. I do not wait. There is no wait time. I do not want my opponents to have a reaction time. QER, do a shit ton of damage, let my friends mop up anything that's left over. That is literally how I play the game. So it's not me shooting my ult to get a kill, it's me shooting my ult to weaken them. It just so happens that I have a lot of damage right now, so I'm getting kills. Fucking deal with it. But when I get people who act like this, who are jerks, who are, you know, being kind of dicks about things, I can't help but troll them a little bit. And basically just make fun of them in chat. Like, I'm not going outright, but against the guy who's angry at my Pyke, I eventually was like, you know, dude, I'm going to play Pyke. Eventually, I will get better at Pyke because of the repetition, and I will be a good Pyke player. You will keep bitching and get better at nothing at all. And that's really how I feel. The bitching, and it was endless. It went on for like 40 minutes. The bitching was endless. And what was interesting is I started landing my Qs and Es towards the end of the game. Now, we were losing. We were going to lose no matter what. There's kind of nothing we could do about it. But I started, you know, landing my Qs and Es. And I was like, hey, I started landing my Qs and Es. Cool, now land them on all of them. It's like, dude, now you're moving the goalposts. Now you don't just want me to learn to play Pyke. Now you want me to be an excellent Pyke. It's like, pick one. But if very much, you know, I don't get people like that. And I gather that, you know, look, League of Legends has always had a reputation. At least it had a reputation a couple of years ago when I last played. I imagine that nothing's changed. But League of Legends has a reputation for having a community that is not amazing. But I don't understand the way people respond like that. We had a Teemo who came in, and you know, I was you know, when I entered the game, I said, hey, I'm not very good. I've been out for 2 years. Expect me to suck. And then this other guy who played our top laner, Teemo, he said, hey, I've been out for 7 years, just came back. I'm going to suck too. Teemo actually played fairly well. Like, he actually, I wish he wasn't Teemo, because he couldn't really add to the game. He didn't really, his Teemo was not as useful as I wish it was. There are other characters that I wish he had played instead. But he played well. But he, you know, he came out in one of the times, and he got caught out in a trap. You know, the enemy trapped him and ate him alive. And you know, he apologized to us. He's like, "Hey, look, you know, I'm sorry, I screwed up there." Except for the Jhin, who was the person bitching. The rest of us were like, "Hey, no big deal. You know, that happens." Like, we understood that bad stuff happens, especially when you're, you know, when you're rusty again, you don't know how necessarily sightlines work and stuff like that. Look, stuff happens. It's a game. Let's have fun. I don't understand the level of salt. And I'll admit, me starting to, when people are not constructive, when their criticism is just, hey, you suck, stop playing, I don't listen anymore. You have immediately lost my engagement. Now, if you want to give me tips, if you're saying, hey, I see you're having trouble landing your hook, you should, you know, try using your hook after the engagement. And I remembered halfway through the game that's how you're supposed to use that hook. You E in first, stun them, and when they're trying to run, then you hook them. I learned that later on in the game. But if they had said, hey, let's give you tips to how to play this character better, I would have immediately not only been engaged, I would have been on board, I would have said, hey, thank you so much, let me work on this. But telling me, you know, / uninstall, you know, hey, you should never play League again, you suck, you know, don't play with people anymore, don't play Pyke anymore. You just lose my engagement, man. I'm not going to listen to you. You're being negative. You're not actually giving me anything that helps. And it just brings up, like, you know, you don't want to bring other people to your level. Which, that should always be the goal. If you're a gold level player, you should... Hello? I hear you. Where are you? Oh, damn. If you're a gold level player, if you're a good player, you should always want to bring people to your level. And I say that, and that sounds like a really big exaggeration or a really big damn. Yeah, that sounds like an exaggeration. Or that sounds possibly a little bit unintuitive. You know, hey, if you're a really good player, why would you want other players to be as good as you? To give you a challenge. You know, if you're the best player in the world and you have no one to challenge you, you're gonna get bored because there's no longer reason to play. And I've seen that. I've seen that in games. And one of the things that I love so much about my local gaming store where I go to play Magic is that the guys there actively want me to get better. They actively give me advice. They actively work to make me a better player. You know, it is a constant action on their part. And they don't just do it for me. They do it for every person who walks through that door to make them better. Why? Because better players make better opponents, and we're playing for the purposes of challenging ourselves against others. Oh, hey. I've been looking for chatter. Here, have a den desk. But that is really the point at the end of the day, right? Is we're trying to play and challenge ourselves. Comedian's outfit. I think I already have this, right? Ooh. I think I have the pants for that. You might have to run with that for a bit. But the entire point is to challenge yourself. Like, I really, when I play Magic, and you know what? It's not even just Magic. This is anything I play. You know, I say Magic because that's the topic that we were on. But I feel the same way in League. If I play League of Legends and I play against a team that I raffle stomp, you know, that I'm just winning against so hard, I'm not satisfied. It's not that it's not fun, because it is. It is fun to beat a team soundly. But it's not that it's not fun. It's just that it's not satisfying. I don't feel like I actually had to challenge myself. When I have a team that surrenders at 20 minutes and didn't put any score on the board, you know, yes, I won, and yes, they are acknowledging my superiority, but it wasn't... I don't find a surrender at 20 minutes as fun as having to fight my way into my opponent's base and beat them there. I like juking my opponents. I like outthinking my opponents, but I also like being, you know, I like being challenged. It's not, I'm not playing necessarily for the win. I'm playing for the experience of playing. I want the fun of having to actually work against you. If I want to just win, I could go play a game where I press the A button and it says, you win, and I get nice, shiny feelings from having succeeded. I could do that. There are games that are like that. So there are plenty of games that just make life easy for you to win, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's good to have games that are easier because some people want to just win. There's nothing wrong with that either. Some people are not the level of others. You know, some games I play stronger than other people, and I'm a better player. Therefore, I want a bigger challenge. But when I play stuff like Magic and I play something like League, when I'm playing against a person, I'm playing against people because I want a challenge. I want to have to struggle for my win, because I feel that a win with no struggle is meaningless. It's not interesting, it's not fun, it is boring. And I don't want that. So I actively want other people to be at my level or better. Or better, and that's the important thing. Or better. Because if you're better than me, I have to try harder. And also, if you're better than me, I can learn from you. And I can get better by playing against you. And if you're not as good as I am, I want you to learn. I want you to get better. Partially because I want you to start seeing the success that I have. I want you to start getting those wins and feeling good about yourself because you succeeded against an equal or better opponent. But also, I want you to be that equal or better opponent. That's kind of this amazing thing about competition, is that competition is boring when you're going against an opponent that is just not... It's not a competition. That's the end. At the end of the day, it's not a competition if your opponent can't compete. you know? Taking me, look, I'm not fit, I'm not, you know, I'm not strong or anything like that. Taking me and putting me in a race against someone who is on crutches or maybe has lost limbs, it's not really a competition. They can't compete on my level. Typically, there's people out there who are awesome. They could probably beat me. You know, putting me against the average person, what are we gonna get? When you have you know, have me arm wrestle a 5-year-old, I'm probably gonna win. It's not a competition, and that's the thing. There really isn't a competition there. I want there to be a competition. I want the people I play against to be there, so that way so we're actually struggling against each other. If we're not, there's not as much fun there. It's a little bit different, I think, when you're the underdog, when you're the player who's not as good playing against a player who's very good. You may know you're going to lose, but you want to try anyways. That's why you go to those Renaissance fairs and you play against, and you see those booths up with the chess masters, and you know, $5 to try to beat them, and if you win, you get 50. You know you're not gonna win. You know these guys are gonna mate you in like 7 moves because they know the game inside and out, backwards and forwards. They have played forever and they know what they're doing. You're not gonna win, but you want to try, and that's fine. And they know, and for them, it's not a competition. For them, it's more of a hustle. But that's the thing. It's you know, I personally don't get anything out of a hustle. You know, I don't enjoy beating a person when there's no chance they can win me. There's an exception. If you're talking big and you think you're better than you are, there's an exception there. But you know, I don't really get much out of those situations. So I sit here, you know, trying to, I'm not going to be able to, okay, we're just going to wait on this. But I sit here, you know, thinking on these folks. I sit here thinking on, you know, the Talon who got angry at me last night because I wasn't a good Jhin. And I wonder, why are you not encouraging me to get better by trying? Why are you encouraging me to go do something that will not actually enhance my skills? We both know that bots aren't an actual skill level test. We both know they're not going to help me. I know what my skills do. I know how they work. I'm just not good at using them yet. That's intellectual knowledge versus practice. We know that. And against, oh, hey, Broccolo. Oh, got the mistaken. Okay, cool. Where does that star even come from? And Broccolo, I think, is the last villager I need to give something to today. Here, have a thing. You're sleepy? It's like 8 o'clock, dude. Here, have an exercise bike. I don't know. It was just it was something that caught me and caught my co-player, caught my partner last night. And we were both kind of weirded out by how little these players wanted me to get better and just wanted to complain at me. Or in the case of, you know, the Jhin that was angry that I said I was rusty when apparently I got the skills on Lux back in the, you know, on my first game. Like it very much, and also not just Lux, but also outthinking opponents, you know, outplaying people. I got those skills back really quickly, but they were angry. They're angry that I had the audacity to call myself rusty. I don't understand why you'd be angry about that. If a player you're playing with plays better than they expect, that should be a cause for celebration, not a cause for anger. And this dude was angry. I don't know. It's weird. Okay, guys, that's it for me. That's my hour. My hour of chit-chat and talk. I am curious what you guys think of the timeline theories. If one of you knows, there's either a branch of philosophy or science that actually talks about that. And I can't remember. I want to say it's physics, but I'm not sure if I'm correct. If you know, let me know. I'm kind of curious. But if you guys, you know, what you guys think about that, you know, is the many timelines theory, is there any weight to that? And then also, if you were in one of those, again, those kind of dead doomed timelines when things are just literally never going to get better. How would you react to that? What would you do in one of those? But I'm kind of curious about that. And then also, let me know how you guys feel about opponents. I am very curious. You know, do you want your opponents to be as strong as you? Do you want them to be weaker than you? Are you willing to help an opponent get better if they're not as good as you? Let me know. As always, guys, if you hit that like button, I appreciate it, or comment, either one. I do read all the comments, and hitting that like button is awesome. It does help other people find this channel, which I appreciate. And then also, if you do want to see more, if you hit subscribe, I do upload at least one video a day of something, and we're up to 2 videos right now, maybe even 3 starting soon. So I have a lot of content coming. I also stream every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:30 p.m., and then sometimes on weekends as well, so you might want to check my Twitch channel as well, or my Discord, because I announce there too. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.